Today, we are diving into an ancient text that honestly reads more like a high-stakes courtroom drama than some dusty old scroll. We're talking about the Book of Habakkuk, and it's this incredibly powerful, timeless dialogue about suffering, what justice really means, and, what it takes to hold on to faith when it feels like your whole world is falling apart.
Just think about that for a second. That's the question Habakkuk is forced to wrestle with. He's crying out for help against all the evil he sees, but the response he gets? It's so shocking it pushes his faith to the absolute brink. Okay, let's get into this.
So to really get why Habakkuk is so desperate, you've got to picture his world. We're talking around 605 BC in the southern kingdom of Judah. Their good king, Josiah, is gone. The new guy, Jehoiakim, is totally corrupt. So from the inside, the kingdom is just rotting away. And on the outside, there's this terrifying new superpower rising, the Neo-Babylonian Empire. And believe me, everybody is scared.
It's inside this pressure cooker of fear and corruption that Habakkuk just can't stay silent anymore. And his first complaint, well, it's this raw, unfiltered cry of anguish, and he's aiming it straight at God.
Wow, you can just feel the frustration in those words, can't you? This isn't some polite philosophical question. This is the sound of a man watching his society completely collapse, feeling totally abandoned by the one power he believes can actually do something about it.
And he's not just being vague here. Habakkuk gets specific. He's pointing to a complete and total breakdown of society. Violence is everywhere. The law? It's a joke. Totally powerless. Justice is never, ever served. Instead, the wicked are just steamrolling the innocent. He's screaming, "Why are you letting this happen?"
So Habakkuk wants an answer. He is demanding intervention. And he gets one. But it is absolutely not the answer he was hoping for. In fact, it might just be his worst nightmare.
Talk about a plot twist. God's response is basically, "Oh, I am acting." And his solution to all the injustice in Judah? He's going to raise up the Babylonians to be his instrument of judgment. For Habakkuk, this is like hearing you're going to put out a small fire with a tidal wave of gasoline. It makes no sense. And to really understand the horror here, you have to get who the Babylonians were. These guys weren't just another army. No, they were legendary for their cruelty. They were ruthless, violent, and made up their own rules as they went. They mocked other nations, they laughed at kings, and they seemed to just love destruction. They were the very definition of injustice.
So this launches Habakkuk's second and frankly much deeper question. It's one thing for God to punish Judah for their sins, okay. But to use a nation that is even more wicked to do the punishing? How does that work? It seems to fly in the face of who God is supposed to be, holy and just. This right here is the heart of the crisis.
Reeling from this, Habakkuk takes his confusion back to God. And the second answer he gets, well, it provides the central theme for the entire book. It's a principle that will literally echo through centuries of theology.
So here's the core of it. God doesn't give Habakkuk a detailed spreadsheet of his geopolitical strategy. Instead, he gives him a principle to live by. He says the person of integrity will live because of his faithfulness. In other words, he's saying, you have to trust me. Trust that my plan is just and my wisdom is perfect, even when you can't see the whole picture, especially then.
And a huge part of earning that trust is this assurance. Justice is for everyone. The plan doesn't just stop with Judah getting punished. God makes it crystal clear that the Babylonians, his own tool, are not getting a free pass. Oh no, their own wickedness will be judged too.
God then lays out what's basically a 5-count indictment against Babylon, a series of woes. They're guilty of exploitation, stealing what isn't theirs, guilty of arrogance, building their kingdom on greed, guilty of oppression, building cities with bloodshed, guilty of violence and humiliating other nations, and finally, idolatry, worshiping their own power instead of anything real. Their judgment isn't random. It's a direct consequence of their own actions.
So, how does Habakkuk react to all this? This is a lot to take in. Well, this answer has a profound effect on him. The final chapter of the book completely shifts gears, moving from this tense argument to a personal prayer. It's a record of his remarkable journey, from sheer terror to profound trust.
But let's be really clear, this was not some easy, instant flip of a switch. Habakkuk's first reaction to hearing God's full plan is physical. It's visceral. He says his stomach churned, his legs literally shook beneath him. He knows that immense suffering is coming for his people, and the reality of that is just overwhelming.
And yet,
From that rock-bottom place of fear, he makes one of the most powerful declarations of faith you will ever read. He paints this picture of total devastation. Fig trees are empty, there are no grapes, no olives, the fields are barren, not even any sheep. Absolute collapse. And he says, even then, even if the worst thing imaginable happens, he will still choose to rejoice in God. His faith is no longer tied to his circumstances at all.
He ends his journey not with all the answers to his questions, but with a completely new source of stability. You see, he's moved from demanding to know why all these bad things are happening to declaring who he trusts no matter what happens. His strength isn't in understanding the plan, but in relying on the character of the one making the plan.
And that really leaves us with the book's big, enduring challenge. Habakkuk's story is just a masterclass in what it looks like to wrestle with real doubt and real pain. It shows us that our questions are valid, but it ultimately points us away from easy answers and towards a much deeper kind of trust. It asks us, you and me, when our world stops making sense, where are we going to find the strength to trust?